We'll get this thing, get the show going. Am I on? Okay, the regular scheduled meeting of the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission is being held at the Commissioners' Meeting Room in the Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Room 250, Cortez, Colorado. We're going to open with the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have roll call done.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Neergaard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Here.
and Commissioner Doyle and Commissioner Saunders are absent.
Also present, Don Haley and Jane Duncan, the County Planning Department. So yes, absent are Haley and Mike. Please silence or turn off your cell phones during the meeting. Important calls may be taken outside of the meeting room. Okay, has the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the April 11th meeting minutes? I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from April 11th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Is that Jason?
Yes.
Roll call, vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Neergaard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Okay. The vote was carried and it was unanimous. Okay, number one. The Montezuma County Planning Commission welcomes you to this meeting. This board is comprised of members who are tasked to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. We are not the decision makers. We encourage public comment after each permit. Persons speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced at the discretion of the Planning Commission to allow members of the public the opportunity to address their thoughts and concerns. When addressing the Commission, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual applicants are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. I will not be voting tonight. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Neergaard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Here.
Okay, number one, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed High Impact Permit Amendment Application to the High Impact Permit number 622 submitted by Empire Electric Association Incorporated, agent Christopher Snyder, on property located at 2399 Road L.4, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 36.98 acres, more or less, all located north of Road L, west of Highway 491, situated in Section 16, Township 36 North, Range 16 West, of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir.
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have the applicant here? Okay, Jane, can we have the planning department findings?
Sure. Empire Electric is proposing to construct a building right to the east of their current operations building for the purpose of moving their main office from 801 North Broadway to the facility off of 491. And it's just going to be an amendment to the high impact permit that they already have. You will notice that the property does have a 32-foot tall radio tower. That was also built at the same time that the existing warehouse was built. But that radio tower is only for radio communications for Empire Electric's operators, and it is not for public use. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural, residential uses, along with commercial and industrial uses as well. All the infrastructure is already in place. They have no problems with making this addition. The environmental health specialist, Melissa Matthews, did make a comment that she would like to verify the connection from the new building to the existing septic tank and would like to update the permit for the locations of the buildings and the existing system. Other than that, everything's already there.
Okay. Mr. Snyder, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think it's
Covered it?
pretty straightforward, yeah.
Okay. Commissioners, any discussion? Questions?
Dawn, can you roll down to the colored plat
The
that
zoning?
shows, yeah, the zoning? My copy didn't indicate whether that was light or heavy industrial. Can you go down a little bit farther? Yeah, this is cut off just like mine was. So the application, I was curious if the application was correct where it said
No.
zoned heavy industrial, or is it light industrial? Because the color here shows light. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I was just
The
curious.
magenta
It's
is for the-
recorded on the GIS map as heavy industrial.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. And I understand that this was something that was supposed to happen quite a few years ago. It just never made it.
That's correct. So when the original planning was done for the building, the intent was to move all of our operations out that direction, and for budgetary reasons, that we opted not to, and leave the headquarters remaining in the current facility.
Okay. And so there's no underground utilities that are in the way
Nope.
of the
That-
proposed building?
Yeah, this was part of the plan all along, and so from that standpoint, all of the infrastructure and everything was put in place to prepare for it.
And they'll be physically attached, new building to old building?
No,
No.
we've got 35-foot space between the two buildings.
Okay. As it shows in the drawing? Okay.
It didn't give you the 35 feet.
Okay. Has there been any thought of landscaping to kind of screen from the highway?
So currently, the visibility from the highway is, it's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
But in terms of, are you talking trees that would block the building, or?
Yeah, there appears to be just a couple of trees in the way right now, from what I remember from the meetings that we have out there.
Yeah. Currently, the plan is to keep landscaping or changes to the landscape pretty minimal. so that we've not given any thought to necessarily screening or anything.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna leave that open, and if we hear from the public anything on screening. Okay, nothing else, Commissioners? Is there any public comment on this application? None, okay, seeing none, then bring it back to the Commissioners for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed high impact permit amendment application to high impact permit number 622 submitted by Empire Electric Association Incorporated, agent Christopher Snyder, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning, and I have no conditions.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote then.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Oh, I'm not supposed to vote, sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right. You forgot too.
Oh, Hernandez is a no vote?
Okay, the motion passed and the vote was unanimous. Thank you,
For
sir.
your time.
Okay, Don, can we have roll call?
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Neergard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay, number 2, notice is hereby given. The Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed subdivision and AR3-9 rezoning application submitted by Harvey and Sharon Hackett and Ted and Shauna Gray on property located to be determined Road H, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 41.32 acres, more or less, located south of Road H, east of Road 27, situated in Section 4, Township 35 North, Range 15 West of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay, do we have the applicant? Come on down. Okay, welcome. Planning Department findings, please.
Sure. The applicants are proposing to divide off approximately 3.2 acres in the northeast corner of their property. The remaining parcel will be 38.12 acres, more or less, and the applicants are planning to build a residence. This will be a single lot development. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, along with the Cortez Trap Club to the east. Sino Delito Rancho's major subdivision is just to the north of the property. It is a major subdivision. The infrastructure, Empire Electric says that they have infrastructure there. Montezuma Water Company says they have infrastructure there. The property currently is vacant, so there is no utilities to it as current. Wildfire Adaptive Partnership recommends a waiver for a comprehensive fire mitigation plan due to there not being no direct fuels, and there is evacuation egress. That's basically it.
Okay. Would you like to add anything to that? No? Okay, dokies. Planning Commission discussion? Ted? Jason?
No.
I have a question. 3.2 acres, what, just because we have the minimum of 3 acres?
Yeah, that was just a recommended amount to break it off.
Can you turn on your mic, please?
There you go.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, I just thought that was it takes 3 acres to have a
Mhm.
septic, so. no.
Okay, and the 60-foot easement that traverses the entire property, why?
I gave that to the gentleman on the 40 acres to the south.
Below, so it's for him?
Yeah,
Okay,
that was already granted by.
okay.
so,
And then you also state that you have no intention of making more lots at the present time.
At the present time, no.
Okay.
I mean, there's four names on that deed, and eventually it might get broke up between those 4, but that's all in the future.
Okay. Okay. That's all the questions I had to have. Public comment. Please come forward. State your name for the record, name and address, please.
My name is Warren Gaspar. I live at 29057 Road H, which is right across the street from this property that you're talking about. The concerns I have is not about this one particular development that they're doing, this one house, but the gentleman has told me that that was the plans were for all of them to be developed at 3 acres. That's going to put at least 10 houses across the street from me. The current access, ingress and egress from that property is very close to my driveway. I've already had the person living in the back that he's given the right of way to drive into my mailbox and destroy it with her truck. I'm curious how the ingress and egress for this property is going to be maintained. The lot that he's subdividing is right on Road H. Is it going to be connected directly to Road H, or is there going to be a single entrance and exit out of this property? It would be nice if it came to the middle of the 2 properties directly across the street, so it doesn't impact anybody's driveway. That's all I've got. I mean, I don't have any objection to what they're doing. I just want to be a good neighbor. I want them to be a good neighbor too.
Thank you. Please.
Hello. My name is Eve O'Neill, and I live in the Cielo Bonito Ranchos development right across the street. And in fact, our
Can you
bed.
give your address,
Oh,
please?
I'm sorry, 8141 Road 29.4 Loop.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Our house is the one that is directly across from the new development, and we would welcome our new neighbors to the neighborhood, of course. My concerns are the dark skies. We have an observatory right there, and in addition, this property is like really like right across from the bedroom. And my hope and request would be that our new neighbors would be considerate of the light. We built our observatory there because of the dark sky ordinances in Montezuma County, and felt safe to do so, and are hoping that that was a good call, because my husband takes beautiful pictures of the sky, and we adore the night skies. And again, we would welcome our new neighbors and hope that that you would maintain the dark skies for us all, right there in the shadow of the Dark Sky Park. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to close it and bring it back to the commissioners. Maybe we can answer that question about the access coming from that property? Is it gonna be off the easement or off Road H?
Well, they're planned on being one off of Road H for my house, but I planned on moving, and I talked to the Land and Bridge about that, and they said I can move it anywhere away from that so that it's not straight across, because I didn't like that either.
Okay, so it's something you're gonna think about?
Oh, it's
Okay.
already in the works.
Okay.
And they told me, in fact, that I don't even need a culvert for that if I go to the west.
Okay,
And that's exactly what I plan on doing there.
okay, great. And this is gonna be your residence?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody
Not-
else?
Not the 3.2. but
The 3.2, no, is that gonna be, that's for sale then?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's for
okay.
a relative.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed subdivision in AR 1-3 rezoning application submitted by Harvey and Sharon Hackett and Ted and Shauna Gray, based on the following conditions. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. No conditions.
No conditions?
No conditions.
Second by?
I'll second.
Okay, Jason. The only condition I would like to see is that the new owners are made aware of the county land use code. Okay? Okay, we have a motion second. Can we know the further discussion? Can we call for the vote?
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carried and it was unanimous. Thank you much. Good luck. Okay, Don, we have roll call.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Neergard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay, number 3. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed 2-lot moderate subdivision and AR3-9 rezoning application submitted by Barbara Benavides, Leanne Singlin, and Kenneth Gallegos on property located at 14852 Road 29, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 11.84 acres, more or less, located south of Road 29, west of Road 29.75, situated in Section 33, Township 37 North, Range 15 west of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
This is the one that,
Oh.
they were, the applicants were, having issues amongst themselves to decide exactly what they were wanting to propose. And so they have requested to be, continued to June 9th meeting.
Okay, so we want to
And
continue
we just
this.
need a motion to,
Yep.
in order to continue that.
The public notice was published in the newspaper, but they did not send out packets,
Okay.
but they did post the sign. But yeah, we do need a motion to continue it to June 13th.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we continue this application to the June meeting of the P&Z Commission.
I'll second.
Thank you. To continue June. Okay. Do we need to vote on that, Don?
Yes.
Okay. And can we have a second and a motion? Can we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Okay, it's been continued until June. Okay, that takes care of that one. Then we're up to roll call, please.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yeah.
Commissioner Neergard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay, and this is an application that was continued from April 11th meeting.
Correct.
Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed subdivision application for an amendment to Lot 1 of the Moores Minor Subdivision submitted by Patrick and Melinda Curtis on property located to be determined Road 38, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 29.92 acres more or less, located south of Road G, east of Road 38, situated in Section 11, Township 35 North, Range 14 West of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Okay. Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay, Jane, can we have the department findings, please?
Do we have the applicants here?
I'm sorry.
The Curtises are proposing to amend Lot 1 of the Morris Minor Subdivision, so there can be 2 residents with irrigated property. This is so they can list it for sale as 2 properties. Per a grant of land split that was recorded on July 16th, 2021 by Terry and Barbara Moores, they granted Patrick and Melinda Curtis the allowance of subdivision of 1 more lot within Lot 1 of said subdivision. No more than that will be allowed. The surrounding properties consist of agriculture and residential uses. Currently, this property is vacant, so driveways would have to be permitted. I do have a letter from the Mancos Town Administrator, Heather Alvarez, and I also have a letter from David Johnston from Mancos Rural Water. He's the superintendent. I would like to read those.
Please.
So I will read the one from Mancos Rural Water first. This is dated May 3rd. Water is available at this time for the property at the corner of Road G and Road 38. Water supply and pressure are adequate to provide water to this property at this time. We would consider an application now, but it is not guaranteed in the future. The letter from Ms. Alvarez, this is dated March 29th, 2024. It says, Dear Planning and Zoning Commission, thank you for your request for Town of Mancos comments on land use development within the town's sphere of influence. The Town of Mancos has legitimate concerns as the negative impacts that such development or subdivision amendments may cause, including leaching from septic systems, degradation to the town's source water, increased impact on the town's roads, and increased impacts on town services such as law enforcement. Additionally, any new road necessitated by the development or subdivision amendments must be consistent with the Town of Mancos' 3-mile plan. This application currently makes no provision for either water or septic systems, we would like to remind the applicant that the Mancos water dock may not be considered as dependable water service at this location. Please do not hesitate to contact me to discuss this matter further. Sincerely, Heather Alvarez, Town Administrator.
Okay. Would you like to add anything to that?
No.
No? Okay. Commissioners, questions?
Yeah, so I'm curious about the water issue because, yes, it's available now, but if the taps aren't purchased while they're available, they will not be available possibly in the future, nor will the water dock. So that would mean that water is not available to the property at that time, sometime in the future. I'm concerned that if we go ahead and approve this as it is, and nothing is done about water taps before they become unavailable, then it's no longer according to the, that's when it becomes not according to the code any longer. So that's a concern of mine.
Yeah, we don't meet item C, the public services are available or
They
could be
are.
made available
They are available.
right now.
Mhm.
Right now.
So a condition of approval could be that a water tap is purchased, or 2 water taps are purchased, whichever, I guess, the applicant would like to put on the property. Because currently it's all ag land, it has irrigation water. So I don't know what the intended use is in the future. If it's for residential use and gonna be sold that way, that could be a condition, is to purchase a water tap now.
Okay. Would there be, is it gonna be ag or residential?
I don't know.
You don't know,
because
okay,
it's
so-
for sale, so it depends on the buyer,
Okay.
how, you know.
Okay. So we'll have to make that condition then. And if the, Don, if the water is not available, let's say in a year, then the lots become sellable lots still. They're still sellable, and buildable. Can they haul water? I mean, I know that was a concern of the commissioners a few months back, or I shouldn't say the commissioners, of the attorney.
Right. So that was the stipulation, that with water lines there and available, and if it's just capacity and volume, then that should be procured now versus waiting indefinitely until the supply runs out.
Okay.
And also, Mancos Rural Water has asked for a membership application form to be filled out by the applicant in order to monitor who has and who has not been approved for a water tap.
And the concern with the town administrator on the septic, the leaching, is the water table high there, or, I mean, I don't
Well,
understand that.
the
13 acres. is-
Mancos River is just right there.
Yeah, the Mancos River's
Okay.
right behind it.
Yeah, that's a long way.
That, yeah.
It's really rocky and sandy in that area. I can see where their concern would be, but I think if you do an engineered septic, it would be fine.
Yeah, all the septics that are being proposed to be put in Montezuma County must be designed by a licensed engineer
Correct. Okay.
and permitted through the county public health department.
Okay. Okay, we'll move to public comment. Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against this application? Okay, seeing none, then we'll bring it back to the commissioners for a recommendation.
So before we make a recommendation, I'm going to vote based on some assumptions. My assumptions are that utilities are available now and that they will be acquired in time to avoid the loss of the availability of water. But if the loss of water availability occurs, my assumption is that they can haul water from another water dock other than Mancus. That's how I'm going to vote, or that's what my vote is going to be based on.
Your assumptions, okay. Was there any thought about purchasing these water taps now?
They're extremely expensive, each water tap.
I'm
is
sure they
extremely
are.
Expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, no, I had no plan on doing that.
Okay.
You know, I realized that that's something that actually could be put in the document of sale, a notice to the people so that they know that they have X amount of days to purchase their water tap after purchasing the property. You know, giving them notice that if they don't do that,
Right.
then there's a possibility that they won't have water or that they'd have to haul water.
Of the hot water, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going to foot that bill
I
for
hadn't
the,
planned on it.
for the water?
Right.
Even though it would make the property more valuable, but,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, if, you know, look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed subdivision application for an amendment of Lot 1 of the Morris Minor subdivision submitted by Patrick and Melina Curtis based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on the property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support the uses consistent with the proposed zoning. And condition that you'll inform the property owners that they need to purchase the taps. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay,
Who seconded it?
Mike? And then the potential owners are to be noticed of the county land use code.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote?
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carried. It was unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, good luck. Okay, can we have roll, Don?
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Neergard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay. Number 5. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed subdivision amendment and AR3-9 rezoning application of Lot 1 of the Clarence Williams 2 Lot Minor Subdivision submitted by Robert Williams, agent Darrell Dempsey, on property located at 24499 Road G.1, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 21.54 acres more or less, located east of Highway 184.
Actually, that should be 491.
49, I was gonna say, Road
160.
G, if that's, yeah, okay, thank you. 145, 4, 145. North of Road G, situated Section 3, Township 35 North, Range 16 West of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. It says a public hearing. Was the public noticed published?
Yes, sir?
Evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted.
Yes, sir?
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay, can the applicant please come down? Howdy. Okay, Jane, how about the planning department findings, please?
Sure. Mr. Williams is proposing to amend Lot 1 of the Clarence Williams 2-lot minor subdivision. He will be dividing the 21.54 more or less acres property into one 9-acre parcel and one 12.54 acre parcel, strictly for single-family use, to allow a family to live. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, along with commercial and industrial uses. The area is predominantly subdivision. It already has infrastructure, as there are already residences on the property. I did get some information from Montezuma County Water District Number 1. They stated that Mr. Williams did come and talk with them, and they did find that Mr. Williams is in their district. They did seem to think that there would be a problem that his property is divided between 2 water districts. So the 9-acre parcel does have Montezuma Water District 1. The 12.54 acres would possibly be in the jurisdiction of Montezuma Water Company. I have emailed them, and I have yet to have a reply from them.
Okay. Do we know that either or both of those companies have adequate water to provide for these lots?
Mancos Rural Water, sorry, I'm still on the other one. Montezuma Water District 1 did not verify or deny that they had adequate water, but I'm sure that they do, because they have a substantial line in that area. So I'm sure that Montezuma Water Company would say that they have adequate water for the bigger lot, but until I have proof from an email saying that, I cannot verify that.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that? Okay. Commissioners, any questions right now?
My only question is the water. If we need to make that a condition that before it happens, that we have documentation that there's adequate water. I mean, I believe there is, but again, things happen in this county. So.
Okay, we can put that as a condition. Yeah, because I'll have some other conditions also. I had a question on it looks like Road G dies at your doorstep, correct?
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
there's going to be an easement to the back, 12 acres?
Yes,
And that will be where?
that'll go straight down it'll be on the west side of the property. They're kind of following where N.M.P.M has their easement,
Okay,
kind of to the side of that.
and it'll be a normal 60-foot?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, anything from
That
you?
was my only question. Access to the 12 acres.
Okay, do we have anyone wishing to make a public comment on this application? Please come down. Easement. 16 feet, 2.25.
My name is Lois Kashner. I live at 7267 Road 25, and I did not get a packet, and I have not been getting packets. And is this, I don't understand, is this for one home that he wants to build? Is it, adequate to have another home there since the water table is so high? I have 20 acres right off of, Road 25.
Okay.
And the water table is so high there that I can't even irrigate. I had water, but I got rid of it because the water table was so high, which does affect his land, because when Linda, next door to Sharon, was watering, which now that property has been sold, and the water, he would call and tell his sister that she was flooding him out by her irrigation. So I do know that the water table does impact his ground. I have had numerous problems with, I don't know, I understood secondhand that this was supposed to be for a mobile home park. Is that not true?
No.
idea, no.
Okay. Anyway, my mailbox has been run over. My house has been broken in numerous times. Down 25, down G, 25, I'm sorry. I always get G and 25 mixed up. I live on 25. And I don't have a problem with Bob as a person, but I do know that there are issues in the area with a lot of drug addicts. I have had numerous break-ins. I have people breaking into my house, stealing food from my refrigerator, stealing different articles, even to the point of I had my car painted and somebody comes and chips the paint. So far it's just on one door, but they're chipping the paint off on that one door. I don't know where this is coming from. It's almost like somebody's trying to make me want to leave, which I am stubborn. Don't think I'm leaving. Not saying it's Bob, I'm just saying there are so many problems down there, and you can't, if you call the police, they'll come. They'll come, but you get no satisfaction. This has got to stop. And besides all that, there are fox, lions, deer, and one night I even had 2 huge racked elk lying in my backyard. I think this is too much impact on the area that we already have.
Okay,
Okay, I'll stop with that.
thank you. Don, you got the timer going, right? Thanks.
I'm Sharon Goodall at 7251 County Road 25, Cortez. And I didn't know whether it was already approved, but he does have a single wide trailer back there that has no running water, no electric, nothing yet. So is that the residential house
No,
or
that's
no?
gonna be moved. Yeah,
We'll ask that question of him.
Okay.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, sir. And I'm just worried about the fire litigation of the in and out exits. With the baseball complex being so close right there, and with the canyon right there, And then the property that backs up is agriculture property. And so I'm just wondering what he plans, what you plan on with the, how many people or what it's going to turn into. I thought it was only approved for one livable house and one rental. And this was approved a while back. So that's my concern, so I guess I'm objective to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close in the public comments. Mr. Williams, can you want to address that issue with
Yeah,
the?
there's one gentleman.
Can you bring the microphone close to you?
I'm sorry.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, there's just one gentleman and his mom's gonna live there. We're gonna build a new house for him, and it's that simple. It's gonna be very quiet. It's one family.
Okay, and the existing residence right now is yours?
Yes.
Okay. And are there two residents on the proposed 9-acre parcel, or one?
No, there's one living.
There's one resident,
Yeah,
okay.
the mobile home's empty right now. It's
Okay,
gonna be
and the
remodeled
12,
and
and the 12.5 will be for sale?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's already sold, yeah.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Are you closing public
I'm
comment?
sorry, I'm sorry, say?
Did you close public comment?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Anyone?
I'll do it. I make a motion. What am I making a motion to? Make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed subdivision application for the amendment of Lot 1 of the Moores Minor subdivision submitted by Patrick and Melissa
Oh, you're on
Curtis.
the wrong thing.
Am I? I was wondering.
One page too far.
Okay,
Yeah, one too far.
so which one are we doing?
On Robert
This is-
Williams.
7, page 7.
Why am I not finding that page? Oh, right here. Okay. I did, I flipped it over. Okay, let's start over. I hereby make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve, see, when I flip this over,
We're saving paper.
I guess we are, because I don't have the rest of this on.
Mine's in mine.
Yeah, let me see yours, because mine's, okay. To approve,
It's up at the top.
okay. To approve the proposed subdivision amendment and AR3-9 rezoning application to Lot 1 of Clarence Williams, 2 lot minor subdivision submitted by Robert Williams, agent Darrell Dempsey. Based on the following, the proposed use is in conformity to the code. The proposed use will not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support use consistent to the proposed zoning. And then the conditions, what conditions did we have?
Evidence,
Water.
Yeah, did you
evidence
have
of
one for
water.
Water, yeah, you
Yeah.
wanted
We
from
need-
both?
Yeah, we need
entities.
letter from the water companies to
Oh,
make
they
sure
put that
that
on
we've
there.
got,
Okay.
that we have adequate water.
Okay, and then I would also state the new owner, be made aware of the county land use code. Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Neergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Aye.
Okay, the motion carried, and it was unanimous. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, that puts him away. Oh, blast. We'll wait for Dawn to return. Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Neergard,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed 3-lot minor subdivision and AR3-9 rezoning application submitted by Rocky Wilson on property located at 24499 Road G.1, Cortez, Colorado.
That's the wrong address.
one. That's the wrong one, right?
address, I'm sorry. The address is
Oh.
12880 Road
Okay.
31 in Mancus, consisting of 37.03 acres more or less, located east of Road 29, north of Highway 160, situated in Section 10, Township 36 North, Range 15 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
It's on the
So
screen.
that was all wrong.
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Okay. See. All right, this is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
Was a sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay, can we have the applicant come down? Thank you. Okay, planning department findings, please.
Sure. The applicants are proposing to create a 3-lot minor subdivision. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, along with BLM lands to the south. There is also subdivision lots to the west of Road 31. It's a major subdivision. The access currently is off of 31, and any new driveway access requires to be permitted and inspected through the County Road and Bridge Department. Infrastructure is already in place. Montezuma Water Company did state that an extension line would need to be put in at the expense of the property owner. And he has already spoken with Montezuma Water Company and gotten a quote for that. Wildfire Adaptive Partnership does recommend a wildfire comprehensive mitigation plan due to the P&J forest with Cache Canyon running below the house, and that's they consider that a fire channel. And the parcel borders BLM and has dense fuels. So they would have to contact Wildfire Adaptive Partnership to find out exactly what they need to get that comprehensive plan
Okay.
constructed.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Montezuma Water is now, we won't have to do a line extension. We'll just have to do a road crossing and put in a meter on my side. I changed my boundary just slightly from what it shows. I'm hoping it's changed. The surveyor has not been back out. But basically, they're going to run that south property line right up to where my water tap is. And so we won't have to, Montezuma Water won't have to do an extension. They'll just come tap off the existing extension that I put in 5 years ago or so.
Where that residence is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, where my residence is. If you look at the map, you can see mine's down in the corner. And we've arranged that lot line so that we won't have to extend Montezuma Water.
Okay.
I won't have to put in a major extension, I'll just have to put in a tap.
And Montezuma Water has stated they have,
They've never said they haven't.
they haven't.
I mean, I've talked to them several times.
Okay.
And it seems to be cleared away. It's just a matter of buying the tap and the membership.
Sure. Okay.
And basically the same with Empire Electric. They'll come off the existing pole. I extended that line about 10 years ago. And we'll just come off of that. One pole length will reach where the house site is on the property that I'm selling to my nephew.
And you have a 3.1 acre lot because,
I kind of wish I wouldn't have. It's unbuildable. My nephew, who I'm selling the 6.3 acres to, didn't want it. And I said, well, we'll just go ahead and split it off since it's a minor subdivision. I have no plans for it. It's really about unbuildable. It's so rocky and steep
So-
there. So,
it's just going to end up being raw land then, vacant land.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying in the
'Cause it's-
future somebody might.
It seems to be the smallest parcel in the area.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Like I say, I kind of wish I'd have just included him in his acreage, but he didn't want it. And I've talked to my neighbor north, and I said I'll leave that as a buffer between my nephew's property and yours, so.
Okay. Anything else, commissioners? Okay, we're going to open it up for public comment. If there's anyone wishing to speak for and against this applicant? Appears not, then we'll close it and bring it back to the commissioners. I will entertain a motion then.
Before we do that, I'd like to just state I'm going to put a condition on it.
Yeah.
For the comprehensive fire mitigation plan.
Okay, certainly can.
I have, that lady will be out tomorrow, so, whoever,
Celeste Moore?
yes. And I've done fire mitigation myself.
Okay.
And could we ask you to submit that to us by an email when Celeste gets that to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
She does some kind of report. I'm a little unfamiliar with the whole thing.
Okay,
So, but I assume she's coming out and suggesting what we should do, and then we're gonna have to hire a private contractor or do it ourselves.
Yes.
And we've been working with Firewise, I think they're called.
Firewise, yes.
And the Cache Canyon area, all of us kind of went together, and I've done a lot of mitigation already. I'm not sure, I haven't really done much on the north end where that parcel is, but we've done a lot already, so, and I'm willing to do it in a moment.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed 3-lot minor subdivision in AR3-9 rezoning application submitted by Rocky Wilson based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. And I'll put the conditions to submit a comprehensive fire mitigation plan. Are there any others?
I'll second.
And also the nephew understand that there is a land use code, okay, in the county. Thank you. Okay, no other discussion, commissioners? We'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Niergaard.
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. It was unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call done.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Niergaard.
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay, now this is the continuation of a continuation.
Yeah, this is continued from March 14th,
Right,
so we'll need to read the public notice again.
right. So we need a motion to continue to June. Is that true?
No, first you got to read the
Okay, sorry.
public notice.
Okay. Okay, number 7. I'm getting ahead of myself. Notice is hereby given, the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will be reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed high-impact special use permit application for a proposed organic biochar facility submitted by Politera USA LLC, Agent Rolf Schwinginger, located at 27930 and 27736 Road T, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 19.62 and 45.48 acres respectively, more or less, located west of Highway 145, south of Road T, situated in Section 19, Township 37 North, Range 15 west of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. Okay.
And because this was a continuation, the notice was not republished and the signs were not recon,
Okay.
because it's just continuation.
So we need to continue the no.
No, just go on with the rest.
Okay, sorry. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
I was just saying that if this was a continuance from March 14th, so it was not republished in the newspaper.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't required to republish it in the paper or to send out new packets.
So it's continued from March 14th. We don't need to re-notice.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so do we have a representative?
It's on Zoom.
Mark, are
Oh,
you coming
there
up,
he
or
is.
you just want everybody on Zoom?
Mark's here, I guess.
I mean, Wade? That's fine.
Is he there?
We have Rolf is on Zoom, as well as James.
Okay, Gaspar.
Yep.
Gaspard.
So, Planning and Zoning Commission, this was continued from March as stated. So at this point, there's 3 options for you to consider. And I guess how we proceed will partly depend on what the owner or the agents would like to do. The first option is if the owner and agents want to amend their current application to include the 3 named owners that are listed on the deed for the 19-acre parcel, then we could amend that part of the application now. And that would be the first option. I don't know if they want to respond or hear the other options. Rolf?
Looks like they're
You there, Rolf?
muted. There we go. There we go.
Or James?
I'm here, but is Wade attending there?
Sure. Yes, sir. Wade's here as well. And we can
Wade can answer that question. I mean, they're the owner of the property.
We can go through the other 2 options if you'd like to hear.
Yeah, I believe that that's what Mark wanted to do, is make the amendment to all 3. That-
Oh, okay.
That he is the owner of all 3, basically.
So as, we're gonna need that stated from either the owner or from one of the agents.
This is Mark Hartman, if you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
I do definitely, I thought we had already done that with Don, but I definitely want that to be reflected, that that's what all 3 people listed on the deed do wish to move forward.
Okay, so just to clarify, on the application, let me get to that.
Yeah, I had sent to Don the application approval, if you will, for Ironwood, for Hartman Family Trust, and for MT Realty, and those are the 3 that are listed on the deed.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we did get that on the agent letter approving James to operate as an agent, but, so we will amend your application there verbally now. On this high impact permit, special use permit application, the current landowners are Ironwood Group LLC, a Colorado limited liability company, the Hartman Family Trust, 50% interest, MT Realty LLC, a California limited liability company, 50% interest.
That's correct.
Thank you. So at this point, Commissioner Hernandez, you can proceed.
We can continue then. Okay. Then we'll have the planning department findings. Please, Jim.
Well, they are basically as stated back in March, but do you want me to go ahead and restate them?
Please.
Okay. The applicant is proposing to convert all byproducts into organic biochar that are currently on the Ironwood property. These surrounding properties consist of agricultural, residential, commercial, light industrial, and heavy industrial uses. The existing driveway accesses from both properties, from the 27930 address was placed in 1964. The address access from 27736 has been in use since 1991. The applicant may need to contact the county road superintendent to ensure the access approach is adequate for traffic. On February 28th, CDOT commented that this project doesn't have any direct access to the highway. All access is off of Road T. Road T and State Highway 145 does have all intersection improvements, which is deceleration lanes and acceleration lanes. The applicant has stated they will be only having 4 trucks, large trucks a day, going into their property site. They do have all infrastructure in. Wildfire Adaptive Partnership recommends a waiver from a comprehensive plan. However, just because they do not need a comprehensive plan does not mean that the property owners do not have to mitigate for fire risk around the property and do the mitigation. I do have a letter of comment from Lee Reeves, who is the Dolores interim town manager. I received this yesterday. The Ironwood property is a great concern to the citizens of Dolores and the new Board of Trustees. I noticed the Palatera and its owner, Mr. Swinigan, were not sent out in this notice for public comment. I don't know what that means, but anyways. I have a new board and have not had sufficient time to make them aware of the impact of biochar to our town. Here are some issues that I know my board will have to understand. Have they done a traffic study on exactly how many trucks will be in the area? How much actual material will be on trucks coming out of the facility? Why are they bringing in more commercial waste from other areas? And what are those areas? Are they licensed solid waste facility by the state of Colorado to take in other waste? Can they please indicate the license in the application? We are very concerned about the air quality and how it will affect the town from diesel generators. I see they have a violation of air quality control standards from CDPHE in their current biochar facility in Berthoud, Colorado. Is a performance bond being recorded? A performance bond would be needed based on the past history of this owner. How long will it take to burn down the current piles, much less bring in more from somewhere else? Who will be monitoring for noise, dust, and air pollution? How do they plan for mitigation if they exceed the threshold standards? There is no impact study on the change for the land use code, and how will it affect air quality and visibility? I would certainly appreciate a continuance of this application so I have time to get comments from my new Board of Trustees, for these are issues of concern. Thank you. Lee Reeves, Dolores Interim Town Manager.
What was the name?
Lee Reeves.
Lee Reeves.
So this is Mark Hartman again, if I could speak for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I think James Gascard can probably answer all of the questions that were just raised if he would.
Is that the only letter you had, Jane, or did you have another one?
No, that's the only one I had for
Okay.
Palatera.
Okay.
All right, I mean, I can answer them if you like, very quickly. There's a misunderstanding in his questions on what we are as a company. We do not take in waste. We take in non-merchantable wood. We're setting up the site there to use the wood that's on the site. And then once that wood is used up, we'll be bringing in wood from the San Juan. I believe San Juan's the name of the forest near you guys. Also from other wood scraps from other areas, but we take in clean waste wood. So anyway, so we're classified by the state as a wood recycling facility. That's what we're classified as. And we don't have diesel generators at this site. What the CDPHE finding they discovered where we're out of compliance is at our site in Berthoud, we do not have utilities. So we have to use a diesel generator for electricity. And our diesel generator went out and we had a rental. And evidently, if you have a rental for more than 90 days, you're supposed to put the new VIN number on your permit. We weren't unaware of that technicality. So we basically were in non-compliance because the diesel generator we had was not the diesel generator on our permit. We never, nowhere in the record does it indicate we exceeded any emissions. It was just a paperwork error for which we paid a fine. Was there other questions, or did that cover what was done? All the trucks, the traffic, we're not going to have trucks coming in. The 4 trucks a day is after we go through all the veneer that's at the facility. Then we'll need 4 truckloads a day of dead trees or wood waste. I believe down the road you have a big pile of stuff at some aspen place. There's also piles of dead trees all around the area. That's basically the amount we estimate of dead wood or scrap wood, clean waste wood from the forest that's non-merchable that we'll be taking in to make our product.
They also had questions about monitoring for noise.
Sorry, monitoring and then
For
faded.
noise.
For noise.
Noise.
Anybody's welcome to come to our site. There's no noise. There's not noise. The loudest noise we have is we use wheel loaders. So you have diesel engines in the wheel loaders. So that's the noise. The kilns themselves do not make noise to speak of. So whatever a diesel engine is, the backup alarms, we actually use white noise thing. OSHA allows sounds like blowing air versus an alarm, and that's legal. So basically, just the wheel loader diesel engine is basically the noise level. So if you had a diesel pickup truck on the site, that's the noise level of our operation.
And this is Mark Hartman again. If I could, the noise levels that were established previously for the industrial site lot line requirement, all of the noise levels will certainly be fully conformed with on a move forward basis.
So what is the decibel rating on your tub grinder?
We don't use a tub grinder.
In your proposal, it says you're going to use the tub grinder to mulch up every row that's on site currently.
I didn't write that. That was Rolf. We use what's called a shredder, and basically it's a Caterpillar diesel engine inside of a compartment. So whatever the decimal rating of that is below. The tub grinder makes too small of a particle. We need big chunks. So we take basically, we need firewood sized chunks. So like a lot of the veneer that's on the site, we don't have to do anything except pick it up and put it in the kiln. If we bring in logs, usually what happens now is we actually run the shredding equipment in the woods. Because the Forest Service, you don't want to haul down air, and we're taking slash and limbs and stuff like that no one else takes. So the shredder usually operates in the woods, and you bring down trucks full of shredded material.
So is there going to be a shredder on site?
There may be, and whatever the decimal rating is, a commercial piece of equipment. I don't have it. You can look online. It would be a
you're going to need to supply that information to us. We have a limit of operating at 70 decibels during the day. So you're going to need to know whether that shredder operating by itself, what those decibel ratings are, and then what the noise is that's created when it's shredding a whole log.
Yeah, we can get that information. It's,
Yeah.
I've talked to the manufacturer and it was below that, but I didn't know it was not submitted. The tub grinder question, I believe that's where they were talking about tub grinding up in the slash piles up in the woods itself. That has none to do with the
All right, yeah.
on-site,
I mean, that's,
so.
from our standpoint, that's got to be verified if you're shredding on-site, tub grinding on-site, or if it's all off-site. And then obviously the hours of operation of a shredder on-site or the tub grinder.
Yeah, we can get that information pretty easily.
And we can certainly agree to a stipulation that it has to be, meet a certain sound level at the lot line, and we can certainly agree to the hours of operation if we do grinding on site.
Yeah, and it's shredding. I don't want everybody to think it's grinding, it's shredding, which is just making larger chunks. So basically, the sound of the wood splitting is louder than the engine. But looking online, I can't find the decibels real quick in their brochure, but we can supply it. It's a commercial piece of equipment, and we have it located. We've got sites all around the country, and we meet decibel levels wherever we're at.
What's your anticipated shipment out after you start receiving 4 trucks a day after this?
25% is the yield, so you would have basically 1 truck out a day. And anyway, so that's what goes out. Most of it goes out on pallets, so the LTL carriers.
The stump grinder or shredder that Don's referring to, is that a mobile unit, or will that be?
Yeah, it'd be a mobile unit that actually the Forest Service is actually talking about giving them a grant to chip at the sites up in the forest to get rid of the slash piles rather than the burning of slash piles as they are now.
So it's going to be mobile on the property?
Mobile in the forest.
Okay, but not on the property?
And it's on tracks, so even at the property, it can move around on the property. But usually, we just, wherever the wood is that's where it stays located. It's not a solid mounted unit. It's on tracks.
Yeah, with that being said, that we could give you the information on that too, because it's well below the 30 or the 70 decimals as well.
So, Don,
but it's not being planned to be used on the property, the tub grinder itself.
On the application in the threshold standards part, page 4 is where noise is, number 25. And in the far right column, it says applicant is responsible for complying with the land use code pertaining to decibel levels adjacent to residential areas not to exceed 55. Is that?
That's at night.
That's in the evening, 7 p.m. to
70.
7 a.m.
So 70 is during the day, 55 is at night?
Correct.
So then I still didn't understand. There will be a shredder or
A
grinder?
shredder will be on site.
On site?
Yeah.
And is
It's
that
built in-
mobile?
No.
It's not mobile, so it will
I-
sit in
No,
one
it's
place?
mobile, okay? The shredder
sorry.
is mobile. It's on tracks. We put we use the tracks, get it on and off a truck trailer.
Okay.
It may be used on site, so we will meet the decibel levels on site. We don't intend to use it much on site, but we will meet all this. Just assume for sake of this permit, we're operating it on site, okay? But, the intent is to take it up to using the woods with the, pick up the piles of the dead trees and the slash piles. But for the sake of the permit, assume it's on site, assume it will be ran, and assume we have to stay within the decibel levels.
Okay, I'm not following that, and my concern is, if it's mobile and it's on the site, then it could be moved in various positions on the property. And so to meet that.
It's $1 million machine. I'm not gonna hardwire it.
Excuse me, let me finish. to meet that 70 decimals during working hours is my concern. If you put it in the middle of the property and it meets it, that's great. But if it's mobile and it's going to be relocated closer to a property line, it's no longer going to meet that 70 decimals.
I
That's my
agree.
concern.
I agree if that's the case. But what we operate, the way we operate at all our other sites, there's one area of the property. This is a special case because you've got the veneer spread all over the place. We have to work our way through. But once that's gone, then basically there'll be a log or a wood area in the middle of the property, and that's where the shredder will operate. Right now, it's going to move around the property in a sense because we may have to shred some of the wood that's on site. So we have to take the wood how we find it. But everywhere else we operate, it's in the middle of the properties.
I think the location is on the map where the shredder is going to be, I believe.
In the black square?
Blacktop, yeah, in that area.
That's where it's at?
So is there a reason for the shredder to be at the edge of the property towards the campground?
I can't answer that.
No, there's no reason for it to be there beyond that's where we were told the wood would be stationed.
Excuse me, the wood was being what?
That's where they anticipated the wood would be, stacked or whatever. The wood would be stored, or, the wood we bring in.
So
we can move, see, our systems are all portable. We can move them around anywhere on that property they would like. That was where we were told that we had available to put our equipment when we originally was approached with this project.
Yeah, as he was saying, just say that it's in that spot and they will still meet the noise limits during running hours.
And we're only going to run it during the day. This is not a 24-hour operation with the shredder. It only operates a couple hours a day at most.
So for cleaning up the rows on the site now, that would be hauled to the shredder, or the shredder would be mobilized up and down the rows?
I could do it either way. I don't even know if the stuff that's there now, the veneer that's there now would not need to be shredded. If there's logs on site, then we'll need to run the logs through the shredder. We need big chunks, but
What I
our preferred
understand, there'll
size
be
is basically the size of firewood.
shaker sorter in front of the kilns themselves. Anything under 3.5 inch automatically goes up into the kilns. Anything underneath would be, up from what's there now, would end up being called a chip. And then we have a permit to spread on the back 40 acres. And we figured there's going to be less than 3% of what's there now that won't make the criteria of the 3.5 inch.
So the rows that are there right now, you are going to shred those?
No.
Even finer, no?
No, they won't be.
They go right to your process?
Right.
Okay. Go right to burning, basically?
Correct.
Okay.
There are some logs on the site, but that's not, right.
So as far as your burners, I guess can you elaborate on where the burner heat is itself? Is it contained, or is it underneath or on top of the kiln?
All right, what's on top is the emission control system. We shred wood, we fill the kiln up with wood. 10 cubic yards goes in each kiln. The reaction is actually a chemical reaction. It's not burning, it's pyrolysis. So we start a fire inside the kiln for about like 30 seconds, a little pilot light, and then as the wood catches fire, then we basically pull a vacuum in the kiln and it starts a chemical reaction. So anything as far as the heat, like what you would consider, fire, it's all just a chemical reaction of the wood itself, and it's all contained within the kiln. We're pulling a vacuum, so all the smoke and stuff from the process goes up in the emission control stack, and then we basically use propane in the emission control stack to keep it. We have to keep the stack at 1650 degrees. So before we start the burner, before we start the process, the temperature has to be that in the stack where no pollution comes out. And then as the wood gas starts to come off the wood, we feather the propane back and use the wood gas itself. So the process is actually a chemical reaction where the wood itself provides the energy to convert the wood into carbon, as well as the wood gas to destroy the pollution and the smoke.
So is that an internal burner that's propane in that stack?
Yeah, there's propane flame that can go into that to keep the temperature moderated. It's a thermal oxidizer basically on the top.
Right. So
but there's no exposed flames. There's no embers that get out or anything. We've demoed this into the woods in 50, 60 mile an hour winds with television crews around, and it's totally safe. From that, that's one reason we use our technology versus some of the other technologies like air curtain burners and things like that allow sparks out.
Right. So if I'm correct, I think during phase 2, you're looking at 30 of these kilns, is that correct?
Yes, that's 30 kilns.
So if you have 30 burners running, is it going to sound like a jet engine on site?
I mean, I know you could go online and watch videos where news crews have been by our sites, and you can see there's very little noise at anything.
All right. Well, I mean, a propane burner for cooking a turkey in a pot makes
a noise. Yeah.
Plenty noise, and these look like these are probably 24-inch, 30-inch diameter vent pipes that you're burning in. Times 30.
In regard to the use of the propane, if I understood you correctly, you said that that is just at the beginning until the chemical reaction starts taking place, and then it's no longer necessary to use the propane. Is that correct?
For the kiln itself, we have to use the propane in the emission control stack to keep clean emissions per our air permits from the CDPHE.
Okay, so you're continuously using the propane?
Not continuously, but what happens, we use the propane heavily at the beginning of the burn, or at the beginning of the process. As the wood gas starts to come up out of the kiln, as the process continues, then the propane's reduced down to nothing through the large part of the day. And then when there's no more wood gas coming out, we ramp up the propane at the end of the cycle, because the emission control stack has to maintain a steady 1650 degrees per our air permits.
Yeah.
So we use the propane to supplement the wood gas.
Okay, thank you.
So if I understand right, your plan is all of the existing material on site would be used first prior to any new product being delivered to the site?
Yes, that's the only reason we're considering the site there, because of the material that's there. And then, the locals, the forests and stuff, they have projects coming up where they would like to get rid of some of the stuff instead of burning it in the forest. So, but at the beginning, it's to get rid of everything there before we worry about bringing in other materials. And I drove around the area. There's a a lot of dead trees and a lot of waste wood piled up in pastures and ravines and in piles around there that we can pull out of the city before we ever worry about pulling out of the forest as well.
Thank you.
We take non-merchantable wood. So basically, we don't use live trees. We don't do any of that. We just take the non-merchantable wood that nobody else takes, and that's what we use in our process.
Can you do me a favor and repeat that? I'm not catching the word you're using, non-merchantable.
Non-merchantable means it's not worth anything. If it wasn't for us taking it, it would end up in a landfill, or it would end up staying in the forest to be burned up in the next forest fire. So we basically take wood that has no value and create value out of it.
Dead wood and slash piles out of the forest.
Or after a fire, we take the charred trees. So we use stuff nobody else wants. And in our northern Colorado locations, we're starting to do deals to pull wood out of landfills. That's not the situation in Cortez, but what we're using in some of our locations now is landfill diversion. That people are, putting the stuff in the landfill, and we divert it to our process.
So this is going to be ultimately, if we approved it, a green waste facility.
Not green waste, but unless you use the word green waste in the sense of wood. The state of Colorado, it's not like we're taking grass in and stuff. We don't do, but we're considered a wood recycler by the state. That's how we're permitted. So we have to weigh everything that comes in to our kilns, and then we report, all the wood that comes into our equipment, and then we report what leaves the site. So we fill out an annual report for wood recycling.
Isn't that what we have at our landfill?
I'm sorry?
Excuse me, isn't that what we have at our landfill, Don? Where green waste is brought in, it's mulched, put in a pile for people to have?
That's for composting.
Composting, right.
Yeah.
But it is
So with the green waste, then is it with the moisture in it and condensed in rows, it'll heat up?
Sure.
And decompose that way? These guys
are going to mulch it and burn it instead.
Well, they're not burning it, there's no oxygen. It just turns into a charred wood.
It turns into pure carbon. I mean, our product
up.
goes into industrial customers. So like we supply graphene battery manufacturers, we supply water treatment, and things like that. That's what we do with our carbon. The problem I did was put biochar in my company's name, but I started like 15 years ago, and it's a little confusing now.
Yeah, actually some of our water towers here actually use it for filtration right here in town.
Oh, yeah.
My problem with what's there is the original company, escapes me right now.
Ironwood.
Yes, they have left that facility full of rows and rows upon rows of shredded material, for lack of a better word, okay? Now, this application we have in front of us is for a two-part, high impact and special use permit.
Correct.
Could we not have approval of special use permit, allow biochar to get rid of what's there right now, see how it works, and then come back and grant a high impact, if it's successful, not only with themselves, but with the neighbors? Am I?
One more time?
Okay, but I guess I'm trying to make it a two-part, where the special use permit would be allowing BioCorp to bring their equipment in, dispose of what's there.
So to meet the land use code as a production facility, they have to have a high impact permit.
Correct.
It has to have a
Yes,
high
they
impact
can't
permit.
operate without
But
it.
then,
Now you can have them do a annual review, whatever timetable. You can
could
set up
create-
public hearing or recommend a public hearing. We can't set anything, but you can recommend that as part of an approval, that there's a
Grace period.
whatever time period. James, what's the procedure on getting your air quality permit? I guess you would have that with phase one when you
What
start?
happens, because we've operated in Colorado for over 12 years, we've been through 6, the air test costs like 50 grand, so we've done 6 air tests so far. So the way it works on new sites is they allow us to set up because they know our emissions, and then within a certain time period, we have to perform a site locally. Like sometimes it's usually like 6 months or something, then we have to do a test locally just, to check a box. But they use our current emissions as, the permit there.
So how long?
It's the same equipment.
Right,
And
so how long would you run before they would have you take samples to actually submit that for your permit that you're operating?
Depends what they require. Usually it's about 6 months, but usually we get set up and running and get things, put in place, and then we have the permit done. Like I say, it's about a $50,000 air test, so we like to actually be operational and, things working smoothly, figuring out where the wood's coming from and things like that. But it's just something you schedule and you get done, and it takes 3 days. They take all the air samples for 3 days and average them out, and that's what they use in the permit.
Do you have your own monitoring equipment off each kiln?
No. What the permit requires, they know what our emissions are as long as the stacks remain at 1650. I mean, so that's what is required in the permit. We have to keep the stacks, those emission control stacks, at a certain temperature, and then everybody knows what the emissions are. There's very, very little emissions. I mean, in some states, we're allowed over 400 kilns at one location because we still stay within synthetic miner permits. And that's what we do. We just go for synthetic miners. We don't try to do anything special. It's a basic permit that any business would get. And, they're just a paperwork chase. So the state knows us well. And we've been permitted now in 5 states. It's the same process in every state.
Can you restate, I think you said that there was not going to be any need for diesel generators on site because you have utilities at this location? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's correct. So the permit you're looking at, the historical permit, in fact, to give you an idea, the one diesel generator puts out more pollution than 10 of our kilns operating daily. So our kilns are extremely clean. So when you're running a generator for electricity, it equals the pollution from 10 of our kilns. But the site in Berthoud has no utilities, so we have to run generators for electricity, and that's the situation. And like I said, that violation was, who knew that if your generator was getting rebuilt and you had a rental and you had the rental for more than 90 days, even though it's the same exact model, if you didn't change the VIN numbers, it was a violation.
So is the air permit, is that the only permitting that's required by the state for your operations?
By the state, yeah. I mean, we have no solid waste and we have no liquid waste. So what we do is there may be local, like a stormwater, but that's every property that has to get those kind of, whatever local permits you have. But from the state, it's only the air. And it's, like I say, it's a synthetic miner, so they don't even hold public hearings. We're permitted just at the same, like if you wanted to drill an oil well, it's the same kind of permit. You're allowed so much pollution before you have to have a public hearing. And we always just go with the lowest. We just do paperwork. We don't, It's a very clean process. We don't need, to put hundreds and hundreds of kilns on the site. Just so you know, in your part of the world, the air district you have, as far as the air permit goes, we could put 180 kilns there and still operate under the same permit. We're not going to do that. I'm just telling you the 30 kilns we're putting there is going to be 1/5 the emissions that we would be allowed under a synthetic minor permit. It is a clean technology.
Anything else? Okay, then we're going to open this up to public comment. I'm sure you're anxious to get this thing going. If you'll come to the podium and name and address, please.
Trent Bishop, Road T 27522. My grandfather had a saying, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." Listen, this application is asking for carte blanche. It's pieced together with a bunch of information grabbed from all over the place and doesn't give us a real plan. The previous business proved that it's very hard to run a high-impact business without affecting the neighbors. Other businesses in the area do a fine job. I don't have any complaints with them. Wood chippers, I had to go out and scrub dust off my decks because I couldn't power wash it off. The dust literally had to be scrubbed off. So yes, they want to bring back another chipper. We might get a drum chipper. We might get a whatever, some other kind of chipper. I don't see any plans for dust capture. I drive around the county, I see the other wood mills in the area or pellet makers. They have giant dust capture mechanisms. They're grinding that wood inside. When this was originally a lumber mill, I can only imagine there weren't homes, a campground, and other things surrounding it. Now when you look, and if you're familiar with the ironwood debacle before, it affects a lot of people. The trucks moving around do. The permit asked for 24-hour operations. They were doing that before. It was a problem for the campground. It was a problem for me. Neighbors from up to 2 miles away could hear the trucks beeping at night. Even over top of the hill could hear the trucks beeping. And I know they're saying, yes, we're going to have this whoosh, whoosh sound on our trucks now. That's not what's in the application. I would ask you to reject this, kick it back to the curb, ask them to come back with a real engineered plan that explains what they're actually doing. This plan does not. My high school science teacher would kick this to the side and tell me to redo this. There's a lot of plagiarism in it. The stuff's, citing stuff from Germany. It's just, for a major operations being proposed, this is disgusting. That's all.
Thank you.
Can I say something real quick? I did try
Hang
to...
on, hang on till public comment's over, and then you'll be able to...
Take a note.
Name's Roy Gettier. I live 27941 Road T, Dolores. We got the paperwork they had sent to us, and it says 4 trucks a day, and regular trailers in and out of the property from the community donating raw materials. And I looked up biochar, and raw materials can be manure, sludge from treatment plants, and other items, which anything biologic. And if you look at the map right there, that one little road going up, that's my house right there, and I'm like 100 yards, it's all clear, phew, it'll be right there in front of me. And they're gonna have work till 7 at night, so they're gonna have to have a lot of light there. And that's gonna be annoying for at night, having people working there that long, and especially during the winter when it gets dark earlier. And yeah, I just oppose it all the way. I don't think it's a good idea. Also, the biochar, one of the processes, bio-oil, they didn't mention that when he was saying about how environmental clean it is. So I think that ought to be looked into a little more. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to show you guys these, this kind of explains where I'm situated and hand out some stuff.
Lana Kelly, 28,000 Road T. I have the campground that's adjacent to the Ironwood site, about, I'd say, 300 feet. I've heard a lot from Mr. Gasper, who's not on the application. He's accountable to no one. He can say anything he wants. The only person that's on this application is Rolf Schwiniger. And we haven't really heard anything from him. The nature of the impact of this permit would suggest that there's going to be adverse conditions that extend beyond the borders of the operation. The land use code requires that these be described in detail and include mitigation plans. It's not optional, it's required. I mean, the way they're making it sound, we won't even know that they're there at all. So I wonder why they're even getting a high impact permit or asking for one. They don't seem to really know what they're operating. I've seen some biochar applications. They were about 350 pages of professional engineered plans from real companies that were submitted to planning and zoning. Applicant states that none of these are going to be exceeded. No traffic. I guess they're choppering everybody in. No noise. We heard this before with Ironwood's application, you know, and that turned out to be a mess. The biochar company in North Carolina had an application, didn't state these, didn't have engineered plans. This is in the North Carolina Supreme Court. I've included that. That's Exhibit E. They're being sued by the town, surrounding towns, and the residents. So there is a huge impact that's not being mentioned here. Common sense would just dictate that this application is misleading at best and fraudulent at worst. It's attempting to circumvent requirements set forth in the Montezuma County Land Use Code 2202.4 through 2202.7, and I've included that as Exhibit A. And so this is really the same, Ironwood's, it's the same people, you know? I mean, they're currently asking to bring in more waste. I mean, Mr. Gasper's talked, but I mean, he's not even accountable to anybody. He's just supplying the equipment. So they're trying to get another permit when they haven't even cleaned up the mess and been able to comply with anything, and are currently have a judgment against them from the county of upwards of almost $700,000 now. So why would we trust these people to give them a permit? And especially, I mean, I could see if maybe they had a plan, they had a good application, but that's not even the case.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
John got about 28,000 Road T. There's a lot to go over. I'm only going to hit a couple points because I only have 3 minutes. These are the relevant land use codes that I'll be using if you want to pass those to each of you, so we don't have to waste time looking it up. The land use code states that any high impact permit, special use permit shall include a mitigation plan. I've highlighted that for you. What they're using is a Crambo 3400. That is a shredder, chipper, call it whatever you want, tub grinder, doesn't matter. It's a Crambo 3400. I believe the year's 2014 when I looked at the Secretary of State filings that's what was purchased. It's 110 decibels. So we can calculate what the decibel level is going to be at the property line by knowing that, using calculus and physics. That's the inverse square law. So I've placed it with the GIS map at the center of the property and measured 475 feet to the property line. That will be 85 decibels if it's at the center of the property, unmitigated. It'll be 85 decibels on every surrounding area of the property. At 1,800 feet, which would be, let's see, 872 feet would be my property. It's going to be 77 decibels at 1,000 feet. at 1,800 feet, should be the Bishop's home, it's going to be 72 decibels. Same with the Montez's, we'll be speaking shortly. Additionally, on the second page of that, you'll see that it also requires a plan for winding down in case the company goes out of business. That's required, which I would think Mr. Schwiniger would know something about, because here's just 10 of his LLCs in Colorado that have all gone out of business. Every single one of them. And might I add that every single one of those either ended in criminal charges against Mr. Schwiniger or lawsuits against him. So it is imperative that we have a performance bond of $1 million to clean up this property if you guys pass this. This isn't an application. This is an engineered report from Saratoga Biochar Solutions that goes over all this. They fully enclosed their facility, and we're still exceeding the decibel standards with noise, with the same similar equipment. I didn't print 5 of these because it's a couple hundred pages. But that's what we need to see. We need a company to come in, an engineering company, to identify all these risks for their employees, for the neighbors, for the county, for the community. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Hart, 16570 Road 28.4. We had some people from Road T. Actually, that's on the, I would say, the west side of 145. On the east side, we have Mountain View development. We have several large residential developments. One of the problems is when this property was planned, it was back in the 70s, 80s, maybe 60s. Back then, it was a rural area. Now, it's a residential area. Granted, we might have some, acreage with our houses, but there's probably within a mile radius, 100 homes or something. It shouldn't be heavy industry. It should be light industry. I've heard that there's 30 large pieces of equipment. That's going to add up and make some noise. It's going to make some pollution. And so I'm very concerned about this proposal. And it sounds like the town of Dolores is also concerned about this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa Valdez, 27501 Road T. I just would like to reiterate everybody else's concerns, along with fire concerns. Ironwood has not proven to be a good neighbor as a high-impact business. As people who maybe read in the last issues that we had, they don't consider their neighbors. They seem to do what they want when they want. We do have other businesses around us, and they do operate within decent hours. They're, good businesses. So I would just like to let you know that those are my concerns, plus the fire concerns. As always, a lot of us are at the end of the road, and if something did catch on fire, that's concerning.
Thank you.
My name is Deborah Gentilini. I live at 16570 Road 28.4. And I've done a little bit of research on biochar, and one of the emissions, the higher the heat is in the process, the more that it emits gases, arsenal and methane. And if you know that we live in southwest Colorado, our methane levels are high. And I just don't think that we should be adding any more bad things to our air. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Tracy Hately. I actually have two addresses. My residential address is 27604. Actually, that's not my residential address. Can't even remember my address right now. I live on County Road 22. The property that I have that is close to this property is 27604 County Road S. I own property there. I grew up there. I've lived in this area all of my life. I lived here when Ponderosa Timber had this facility, and they burned and whatever pollution they might have caused at the time. I wish my husband was here because it is his business that would benefit, and I am in favor of this. My husband's business would benefit from this. He is a logger in the forest. Right now, having these piles of slash and timber in the forest, this would be a great facility to be able to utilize that so that we don't have the issue of Forest Service or of fires in the forest because of controlled burns. We all know controlled burns get out of hand. We've seen it, it's happened. According to what they say here, they are able to utilize not only the slash piles, but also burned wood. It's a great way to utilize wood products to provide what he said, carbon sink, so that they can be used for fertilizer. It's not a bad thing. I do understand the concerns with the noise. I totally understand. According to what they're saying, yeah, that they would follow the policies and whatever you guys set forth for that. It would help with the landfill. It would bring jobs to the community. I realize that there's a couple of things in the downside that maybe you guys can put in as conditions, but in the big scheme of things, it is a great idea. It's a great way to get rid of the product that's on the property. My husband worked there all summer last summer hauling chips away from the facility so that they could get rid of the pile. They ended up putting, I've got Vermeer on my own property because we ran out of places to haul that to. It's not, like I say, it's not a bad thing, but yeah, maybe needs some conditions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Jordan Anderson. I live at 16119 Road 28.2. So that's the Mountain View subdivision that one of the gentlemen was mentioning. I gotta say, I'm very much against this permit. I think the permit is incredibly, as many of these guys have said, it's got huge gaps. There's lots of things these guys aren't addressing, or things that they claim to be addressing that, how can any of us have any trust? I'm sorry, like Ironwood was a terrible neighbor. We could hear them at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. with their beeping machines, their saws, etc. They've got no mitigation plan in this permit, which, I guess their mitigation plan is maybe we start another business if this one fails to try and bail out this one. I also want to push back against this lady here. The idea that these char plants are going to fix the amount of wood that's in our forests. They might do a tiny fraction of it, but 30 kilns managing millions of acres of San Juan, I'm sorry, it's going to be a drop in the bucket. We will still be doing controlled burns, etc. It's not going to fix that problem. I think that after Ironwood's debacle and how bad of a job they did, working with us neighbors and trying to take care of us, I think this should be rejected. Back when there was high use stuff in this area, as this gentleman said, there weren't that many residents in the area. My neighborhood has almost 20 homes in it, and it did not exist before like 1980, essentially. So, yeah, I think we need to consider the amount of new residents that are in the area, and just try and keep in mind that there's a lot more neighbors and I don't think that high impact industry really makes sense in this area. So with that, I'll yield. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dean Valdez, 27501 Road T. I'd like to, bring up again that these guys' neighbors weren't the greatest. They'd wait till 5 in the evening, turn on these wood chippers, run it till 5 in the morning, all week long, every day. And I was wanting everybody to consider this new thing's going to be near our water source. Montezuma water is right there. Our irrigation canal runs right around this place, so that's something to think about.
Thank you.
Rock Smith, I live at 18440 Highway 145. The way we feel about it is, so I grew up a lot at 27930, which that greenhouse is my mom's house. So I grew up a lot around there. My family's been in logging, been in sawmilling, been there pretty much entire generation. I don't approve of the way the waste is being handled right now, but this is the only solution we've had come forward to get rid of it. In my opinion, we got to try something. If not, it's going to sit there for decades, and it's not going to slow down any other logging industry. We need jobs in this area. This was the only plan, right, wrong, maybe indifferent, that we've even had presented to get rid of this pile. It would add jobs. I think with the right stipulations in place as far as hours of use and the right controls, maybe this can be done. Maybe we can start getting rid of waste, but we don't know unless we try something. And right now, my mom's property value is completely trashed. I mean, there's rows and rows of slashes everybody has seen. As far as the neighboring property values, I feel like we need to try something, and with the right controls in place and with everybody on board, we got to try something to get rid of that waste, because it's just going to sit there if we don't try something. And as a neighbor down the road, we have done work for them. We have tried to be the good neighbor to everybody else, and I think with everybody's, input, we can come up with a plan to get rid of this waste, because it's just going to sit there. And it's really destroying property values. So that's where I'm at on it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
My name is Kim Haas. I live at 18347 Road 26 in Dolores. I've just been there for a little over a year. I used to live right across the street from the campground, Circle C, that's next to the Ironwood. And I don't disagree with the last gentleman that something needs to be done. Why was it allowed to get so out of control is the question I have. I don't, and along with all the other people, Ironwood was not a good neighbor. Living right across the street, we heard them, we had the lights, everything. I just, I'm opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Thompson, 18380 Highway 145. And I want to say that most of what I've heard from the neighbors are things that can be worked out if the company and the neighbors work together and communicate. As for the noise, I'm hearing that Ironwood was really loud, but until we hear this one, we're not going to know. You can have all your studies, and that's fine, but you're gonna have to have it set up and running and tested before we know. And I agree with anyone else that that creates a lot of jobs. And I hear a lot of grumbling back here. I find that pretty disrespectful, but that's okay. This company will create jobs, and I don't see anything wrong with jobs in this county. So I would like to see that you let this permit happen and let them have an opportunity. This is not Ironwood. This is not the same management. It's a whole different group of people. So I would suggest give them a chance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, let's give this gentleman the opportunity to answer some of those questions.
If you don't mind, when reference to all the equipment comments, not a single piece of equipment has been purchased for this facility. So I don't know where he got a 2014 piece of equipment. That's fine. All those studies they reference, let me kind of explain where we are in the industry. If you Google the word biochar, there's 16 million hits. We are literally the only company that's been formally approved by the US EPA to even make the product and release it into the environment in an unrestricted manner. We have our own patented equipment. We have 17 patents. We don't utilize any of the equipment that they brought up in all these studies. It's just different equipment. We're not made in Germany. We're made in local machine shops. And we don't have moving equipment in our kilns. It's the temperatures we operate at, we have to move airflows around. If you have moving equipment, it basically melts and breaks. So that's one reason our equipment's so much quieter than other equipment. So that's just general comments. I appreciate all the research everyone did. We don't use sewage sludge. We don't make bio oils. We are a different process than what they Googled. But what they found is all, it's all on the internet, but it's not our company. Anyway, I can answer any questions, but we haven't even bought a piece of equipment, so I don't know anything about a 2014 Crambo.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I can first say that, yeah, Ironwood ran horribly. They were not good to the neighbors. I know that firsthand. I worked for Ironwood. I moved here 6 months prior to them shutting down, and it was not a good, fun place to work. I can tell you that, from the management side. They really were about themselves. I have no vesting in this other company coming in. I've been trying to help them with Mark, trying to get their permits and such. I'm not promised any job or anything. I think that they've got a lot of things going for themselves. For the wood and water mitigation for the community, there will be, from what I understand, it could be one of the largest employees in the county before it's over one employers, from what I've heard. I did, trying to be a good neighbor. Ingrid, I don't know her last name, Ward. I don't hear her here tonight. She usually speaks for most of these folks.
Yeah.
And I did reach out to her 3 times now, asking her to, maybe we could all get together as a group and speak about all their X's and O's, pros and cons, so that we would not have to go through, even maybe that some of these answers could be answered before we even got here, and no communication at all, 0. So I did try to get a group together to give that opportunity.
Okay, some of the questions that were asked are the dust And I know as soon as you touch those piles that are there right now, there's dust. So, I mean, if you're gonna pick them up and move them somewhere, then it's gonna be dust. Of course, that could be mitigated with water.
Yeah, there's a water truck right there in between all the piles now, waiting for
Okay,
that
so-
opportunity.
Okay, so you thought about that already, okay. The raw materials, when I did research, I did see that other byproducts could be brought in for that biochar process. Is that the intent, to bring anything else in other than wood?
No, no. I mean, pardon the pun, but biosolids and stuff like that make a real shitty char. It's, we make wood carbon, and it, basically, that's what the market is. We have special properties, unique properties. So we don't, these other machines are like heated screws. So what they do is they just basically, they'll run it through and just expose it to the temperature for like a minute or so. We expose it to the same temperature for 10 hours, and we do it in a vacuum. So we make a totally different product, but we make it out of wood. There's no market value to anything. Now, having said that, full disclosure, we've tested everything. But it just doesn't make quality products that have a market. But the wood is what we do.
And you don't use any other products for additives for this final product that you're producing? Like a fertilizer or anything like that?
No, we make the carbon. What happens, let me explain what happens. Now, we do sell to ag customers, we sell to industrial customers. We just make a pure carbon. The reason people put us in the ground is because we bind the nutrients. So basically, if you put us in the ground, then you fertilize your crop. We bind all the nutrients and we keep them from washing out of the root zone. So, but we're an inert pure carbon that we sell. But it's just same like if we sell into a Superfund site, we bind all the toxins in a Superfund site. We bind things is what we do. And that's why we're using water treatment, because we bind all the impurities out of water. But we're not a fertilizer. Now, if you buy our product, you mix fertilizer with it and compost, and I guess you could say we're a nutrient carrier, but that's only because you added nutrients to it. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
One thing I'd like to add is, I know prior, just from the short time that I was there on site, that they had meetings, I'd say like since 2019, of local wood places, so small mom pop sawmills, up at Aspen Wallwood, all these neighbors trying to find ways to get rid of waste, and there's still no way for them to get rid of the waste other than maybe the dump, but most people still are just accumulating them on site, moving them into canyons, that kind of stuff. From what I understand, James would like get rid of that problem that we're having here locally. I mean, they were having meetings here from what I understand, here in this room, trying to figure out how they were going to do it. No one ever could come up with a plan. And from my eyes, this would be one of the best plans that I've seen in a long time to help with that kind of issue.
Okay, a couple of questions I have to know for Don. Now, of the 4 people that are on this application, are any of them Ironwood?
What do you mean, the 4 people?
The names that are on this application.
One of them is Ironwood.
Is Ironwood. Okay, does Ironwood?
Not on the application, guys.
We just added it at the beginning of the public hearing.
Well, that's because you asked that because the Ironwood's name was on the deed. But Ironwood, I'm the owner of Ironwood primarily because I'm the owner of the property.
Okay.
But I can rest assured that Ironwood will have nothing to do with this project directly, and frankly, there is no intention for Ironwood to ever operate again as a company. So when this application gets approved, I've already got a contract to actually sell the whole facility to the Palaterra applicant. And they've also agreed to buy all of the existing material on site. So they're fully committed to taking that material and processing it just as fast as they can, and Ironwood will never operate again.
Okay, back to my question, Don. Then Ironwood, Rolf here is owner of Ironwood. Have they, no, he's not.
Rolf is only an agent to Mr. Hartman.
Who's the owner of Ironwood?
Correct.
Okay, and Mr. Hartman is on the application also? No?
He is
Yes.
one of the owners, the Hartman Family Trust. He actually is part owner of Ironwood as well as Hartman Family Trust, and Mr. Hartman, you'd have to explain
Pretty
on the
convoluted.
California
I guess-
LLC.
I'll try to answer that question. The only reason why he's on there is he is trying to sell to,
Okay, okay, and
Other
I'm
companies.
okay with that. My question, though, is,
not as an operator.
has obligations that were created by the BOCC for Ironwood, have those obligations been taken care of?
We believe they have. So the consent order was for all of the chips, slash, and logs to be removed. And as of August 7th, or not August, October 7th of last year, that project was substantially complete. The remaining veneer was never in the consent order. So literally 99% of the material that's left on site today was not covered under the consent order. And the most important thing that we're trying to complete is the county desperately wants us to remove all of that material. And this is the best thing that we could come up with. We actually had, during the consent order, we had permission and got curtain burners approved, and we tried to incinerate some of the material, and we're actually unsuccessful. So this by far is a better solution environmentally wise, and just turning lemons into lemonade, if you will. But the important thing is that the county's goal, at least what I've been communicated from the county, is they want that material removed as soon as possible. And this is the best way that we could possibly come up with to do that in the most environmentally friendly way. And then combine that with all the jobs, the future work with the Forest Service, and all of that. Those are all things that we already have under contract with the Forest Service, a substantial amount of wood. But they're begging us, literally, as soon as this permit is approved, the Forest Service wants to add, they want to pay us to start to remove the slash piles. And they're talking to us early on about putting miniature facilities. As James explained, these facilities are really all portable. So we could theoretically put additional facilities scattered around the forest in other locations in the future. And I say I probably wouldn't be involved in that part of it, but that's one of the things that attracted me to the plan, is that I was snookered by a lot of the people in the meeting today in terms of the operation with Ironwood. I was the financial guy. I didn't have anything to do with the operations at all. I live in Ridgeway. I visited the plant once every couple of months to have a barbecue for the employees, but I never ran operations. I was not even aware that the pile had become a problem. And the only time I got involved was when it completely got out of control and the original operator had already left. And Wade and I kind of picked up the pieces, and we've done everything humanly possible since then to get rid of the pile and to comply with the order, up to including me spending over $3 million personally, because Ironwood as a company had no resources. So I've really, really tried to be a good citizen, and I do apologize to all those people that were harmed by Ironwood, but I also will make the comment in defense of Ironwood is that we never violated any of the terms of our operating permit. So we always were within the sound levels. We were always within the operator hours.
So Mr. Hartman, we're not going to rehash Ironwood. Short answer, John, is no, it's not compliant
They're
as
not
it stands
compliant.
today.
Okay, that's what I asked.
Well, no, that's not the short answer. We were compliant as of October 7th of last year.
So fines have been paid?
No, they have not.
Okay, then you're not in compliance.
The court has not relinquished the consent order.
Okay.
Or
That's correct. That's
or
correct.
removed
And this-
it or whatever
and
legal
this
term,
is-
but we're not going to discuss the legal aspect of that. We are reviewing this application on this property. I do have a question. So who actually is going to be operating this facility?
James, won't your people be operating
Yeah,
it? Or
on the biochar equipment, yes. We're, our company's responsible for operations.
And whose equipment are you using?
Ours. It's patented equipment.
So you will purchase, install, and operate?
Yes.
So I guess I'm confused on why Rolf was the agent and biochar was not involved for the first year that this was.
Oh, well, I mean, Rolf is basically, he's part, okay, I mean, legally, they will be buying the equipment, but, biochar now will be building it and operating it.
So it will be your company running the operation, your employees?
Yeah, because since we're the only company that's approved by the EPA, we have to maintain a certain quality, and just truthfully, all the sites around the country, we just don't trust other people. So so we're responsible for operations and maintaining quality of the product.
So what are the options of mitigating this site by containing all the equipment and stuff back to the southwest of the buildings, closer to the center of the properties, as opposed to pushing it one side or the other? Or how about operating within the existing facility?
We don't operate inside, okay? The equipment's outside. It's portable equipment, so it's built to run outside. It's actually built to run in the forest, but it's more cost effective to set up around wood sources. But there's nothing that would prevent us from locating other places around the property. My understanding, and we were directed by Rolf on what part of the property to set up on, because that's what I believe the direction he received. But the equipment can go anywhere.
All right.
As long as it's a flat
How much
portion of
large
land.
equipment are you going to have on site during operations?
I'm sorry?
How much large equipment, loaders?
You need one wheel loader, a larger one that basically, that can, basically pick up the kiln. We have a special attachment, so it has like a 10,000 pound capacity to pick up. Then we have like a forklift, little small wheel loader that we can use for forks. And then you've got the potential of the Crambo operating. And then you also will have either a log loader or bucket truck, some type of crane that has to pick up the wood,
Right.
or dump, and put it in the shredder.
So would slash be delivered to the site?
I don't think that's realistic. I think we have to go, for the slash, the Forest Service doesn't want to haul air. So for slash, you literally need to take the shredder up into the woods and then shred into like a live floor trailer and bring the wood down. Now, logs, if they're bringing down logs off of a landing, the logs will maybe come into the site, but this is after we get rid of all the veneer.
Right,
Yeah.
right, understood. So could the shredder be located indoors or contained in a enclosure?
Well, it could, that you'd have to talk to the property owners. I'm not the property owner, but we could operate in that big building there if there's room. And I walked in that building, there's room. You could operate inside, but assuming the decibel levels are a problem, we've got, the newer equipment, we don't see an issue with the decibel levels because it doesn't ramp to the high. But anyway, that's fine. Whatever the decibel levels take, no issue, you can't operate indoors. At least the shredder. You don't want to operate the kilns
No,
indoors because
understood. I meant the shredder as far as a noise mitigation.
Yeah, because they do have a big building there. I mean, it's a big building. You just have a lot of equipment in there.
Commissioner Armstrong, I know you have some questions.
Well, I just, so the nature of issuing a permit is it can be revoked, right?
Correct.
So.
Or reviewed, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever stipulations may be attached.
So what I'm hearing, there's a lot of concerns around noise, dust, things like that. And I think the concerns that we're hearing from the community are, how does that enforcement take place? What does that look like? So like, let's, for instance, I'm just asking you as the county, I guess, if there was a complaint that noise was being violated, the dust, what is the reaction from the county? What do you?
So they were requested to give us data on their noise readings at their property lines, which is what we require in any case, whether it's from a complaint from a neighbor or from the owner. So obviously, with what went on and what they did and how they operated, I would definitely put restrictions on hours of operation. That would include unloading of trucks or loading of equipment. Now, if the kilns can sit there for 10 hours, they can be loaded at 4 in the afternoon, and then nothing's done till the next day. I don't know how that works in their system, but there's those controls that can be put on there. I would recommend that the exact equipment that's either a tub grinder and or shredder, have that information sent to us. Because it's pure speculation if we don't know. I mean, we can't just say, yeah, it's state of the art. Well, so's a jet engine and it's loud as you want it to be. So there's the noise of equipment, there's the noise of grinding up a whole log. And those are two different things.
Yeah.
Right.
A table saw is one noise, running lumber through it is 3 times that noise. So I think my only perspective, just because I have tried to get a lot of information from the original agent applicant for months, and it's not been readily available. So I think some of that information is prudent. That includes the equipment running and grinding a log at 100 feet, 200 feet, 500
That
feet.
gentleman presented. I have one more thing to say. I know we live in rural southwest Colorado, and this that was presented to us comes from New York. There's an engineering report for New York City. That's what it should look like, not haphazardly thrown together, but a full-blown engineering report that would specify exactly what Don just mentioned. Decibel noises at 100 feet, 200 feet, every piece of equipment that's going to be on the property, how it's operated, how it's run. Is it diesel? Is it gas? That's what an engineering report specifies. That's what we're missing. That's the last I'll say. You finished?
Yes.
Go. Commissioner Lynch.
So, Don, I was under 2202, one of the points made was that a requirement for the mitigation plan or plans for winding down activities and service and facility demands. In one of those three is in the event that the project is suspended or terminated prior to completion, and the other one is for when the construction or operation of the project is complete. And I was wondering if those plans have been submitted with this application.
So no, they have not, and no, we did not request those. From the operation, there is to be no byproduct remaining. So what you would be looking at is any amount of stockpile that they would need or require to operate, which could be a limited factor, so as to not fill up 40 acres of logs in a 4-month period, or whatever, whatever the operating procedures are, they get 10 days extra stockpile. Depends on the source, but you can't just let this thing fill up again. But they are not creating waste from the understanding of the operation. So as far as a mitigation, if they were to leave, I would say it would be the raw material, for lack of a better word, that would be stockpiled to be used, and then their equipment.
But that wasn't required of them, correct?
We did not require that of them.
Ted?
And just to be full disclosure, we have never required that of anybody in the 5 years I've been here.
Might be a thought, though. Might be a thought. Like I said, everything should be an engineering report. This thing has a beginning to an end, yeah.
Right.
And I will.
So if you're creating a byproduct,
True.
I can see that, which.
But still, if they leave in the middle of the night, you have all that product is there. Not byproduct, but product. So, then somebody's got to get rid of it, like the big pile that was there, which, by the way, that was a good job getting it at least in rows. And for the record, I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I just don't like the way it's presented. Ted?
I just have, a few issues with it.
Ted, microphone.
Pull
Pull it to your face, please.
Did I turn it off though? Yeah. That's what I thought. I see the pros and cons of it both ways. I mean, I really see that we need to clean this up, but I also see why the neighbors are upset with the way things were handled. Again, it's not the same company. So yeah, I'm kind of struggling on it, really.
Guys, could I make one other comment for you?
Sure.
This is Mark again. So the other thing to understand is that we were issued a beneficial use permit also back in October of last year to spread all of the remaining material on the site. And we would have had to grind it up or break it up a little bit more, but we received that permit clear back then. And that is, potentially a viable solution to reduce all that material that's there. But once I got that beneficial use permit, at the same time I was approached from the biochar guys, and they basically begged me and almost demanded that I not destroy the existing material, that it was feedstock for the biochar that was ideal, and that's why it's in rows. We put it in rows to prepare for spreading, and then once the biochar guys came around, we were like, that's just a way, way better solution. So to answer your question about what happens if the biochar thing never happens, we can always take a couple of days and spread the existing material around the job site and crush it or plow it underground or do whatever with it, and it'd be gone, which I'm perfectly willing to do as a stipulation for the permit. I, more than anybody, want that, what used to be an enormous pile, to be gone. There's nobody anywhere that wants that more than I do. I'm just trying to do it in the most environmentally friendly way, and the most beneficial way. And if that's biochar and they're actually willing to pay me for that material, it'll at least partially offset the cost of me moving what was supposed to be 159,000 cubic yards of chips and turned into over 220,000 cubic yards of chips and over 3,000 truckloads that Wade and I have worked our butts off to try to get out. So we're really trying to do the right thing here, and it's my opinion anyway that the biochar is best for the community, it's best for the environment, and it's just best overall.
So are we able to put a stipulation, for it to be monitored, say in a year's time if we do approve it, and if the requirements are being met to pull the permit?
That's a possible recommendation. I still think you're gonna wanna know what noise the equipment is before it ever gets to any point.
I totally understand that, but I think before we approve it, I think we need to get the information.
Well, I've sat in on a lot of the commissioners' meetings on the P&Z applications, and one of the things that is stated by the commissioners on several occasions is that these are permits, and as long as the applicant is in compliance with the permit, there's not a problem. When the applicant is out of compliance and that's brought to the attention of the commissioners, those permits can be withdrawn. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
So there's no real need to put a year or 2 year or whatever stipulation, because at any time after it starts operation, if there is a problem with meeting the thresholds or any of the stipulations of the permit, as long as those are brought to the commissioners and proven, that permit can be revoked. I also want to say that the commissioners have to take into account more than we do. As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, we're to compare the applicants' permit applications with the land use code. And in my opinion, we don't need to worry about what a previous company did on another property, how they're involved in this property. All we're to do as volunteers on this commission is to compare the application with the land use code and make a recommendation to the commissioners. The commissioners have a larger, broader responsibility than we do. If the application meets the land use code as we understand it, then that's how we judge, not on things that have happened with which company. There was a recent application where the public did not like the company that wanted to put in a business, and it was all about the company, but that's not in the land use code. There's nothing that says that we have to evaluate a company. And that's all I want to say.
Correct. From planning's perspective, the application and the threshold standards were certified that they will meet everything. That application was not submitted by the company that now is going to be operating the facility. That's why I would recommend that those threshold standards be reviewed and equipment data, equipment noise, be submitted so that, that you guys can have a more in-depth evaluation. That's just my recommendation. That would be part of meeting the land use code requirements of threshold standards. I have a tough time saying they will meet everything as is. I'm Larry.
Yeah.
But it's up to them to meet it. It's not,
Part of that is for the planning department to evaluate it, and we are requesting the exact equipment that's gonna be a tub grinder, or a mulcher, or a thrasher, or a shredder that could be extremely exceeding the noise levels. And I think, a look at the location of these equipment and operation ought to be looked at as a mitigating factor, as well as information on lighting.
Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna purchase any equipment and start a chicken and egg thing until we have a permit, but what we can do is provide manufacturer specs and what they claim the decibels are on the machinery. But we won't have a machine to measure, until we have a permit. It's a chicken and egg problem, but we can get manufacturer specs. Be happy to get you that.
Are you running a shredder at the Berthoud plant?
Yeah, but yes, we are.
Yeah,
And
that would be a good place to start with actual measurement.
okay, as far as you understand, it's not the exact machine, because you
Right.
had said
But
the
if-
exact equipment.
From my
Yeah.
perspective, if you're looking to move forward, you know what piece of equipment you want to buy, so that would
Oh,
be
yeah, no,
the,
we've already got it, yes, to answer your
those
question.
would be the specs that I would like to have for the commission.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, we can pull that and,
And certainly what we'd like to see is a recommendation from the planning commission that, or a stipulation that so long as that data is well within the requirements of the permit, that your recommendation would be to move forward.
yeah, because we don't want to be outside the permit anyway. But we had to do the same thing, just so you understand, we had to do the same thing for North Carolina and other states. You're not asking for anything that we haven't seen before.
So Don, I've seen this work different ways. So there's information that this commission has reviewed, and then by the time it actually gets to the public hearing with the commissioners, they receive additional information from applicants kind of in between. And so, well, I guess.
No, they cannot submit new information
Once we're done here.
New
between
studies.
this public hearing and their next public hearing.
Okay,
And the county commissioners cannot review this public hearing or read any data, anything submitted. It goes in their electronic file, but they cannot have access to that prior to the public hearing in front of them
okay,
at such time.
If
Okay.
they submit new information, you have to review it.
first, okay, okay.
It has to,
So then
if
I-
you want to review new information, you can continue this
Right.
to review it,
That's what I
but the commissioners, they cannot submit new material between the time you see it and the time the commissioners see it.
Okay.
I think perhaps what you're referring to is the property at Road N and.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, between the recommendation made in this commission and the time it was seen by the commissioners, they had prepared additional mitigation
That's right.
for
Mhm.
the things that were raised in the commission's meeting, in the
Correct.
P and Z meeting.
Correct, and that can be
Yeah, and
presented.
that's what I was really.
That
that's what
can
I
be
was getting at.
presented at the
Yeah.
public hearing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So that new information, the applicant can present that at the public hearing. They can't supply it to us or anybody else
Yeah.
in between.
that's what you're.
Yeah, that's what I was, yeah, that's.
Unless we
there.
continue this and then we get to see Again, the equipment, possible relocation of the pods, and I'm gonna refer to them as pods, for noise, or not noise, well, for noise, yeah. Dust and everything else.
Because from what I understand, James, is every single one of those pots gets moved twice a day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you basically, but, yeah, you basically move it to dump it into a processing line, bagging line, and then you load it back up with wood and you move it back to the firing, to the firing line. And you move it to a cooling area, but yeah, because it cools for about 16 hours before you dump it into a processing line. But to move it forward, I mean, we can present the noise data at the commissioners meeting, but I mean, if we don't meet the noise data, it's not like we're gonna go anywhere, because the last thing you want to do is walk into a project, you're gonna be in violation of. I mean, we're putting sites up all around the country, and, so we're not gonna go into a place we know that's an issue, but we haven't had a problem permitting anywhere else for any of the data they've asked us for. I just don't have it at the tip of my fingers.
Is that a bigger map? Yeah, right down in here.
Yeah.
Right in here, and then there's nothing around you.
Yeah, actually, down in this area back in here would be better. These are businesses and things down here.
That's further away from the propane. Propane's up on the back side of the building. I think that was the main reason why he used it there to begin with.
That's
The natural gas.
I was gonna say, if it's a propane tank, it could be moved.
Anywhere.
Natural gas.
Yeah.
Well, even a natural gas line could be moved. I mean,
Sure.
it's an expense, but
Utilities can be moved, yeah.
but it's not a huge
Yeah, it can be
expense.
extended.
A little more difficult, but, I mean,
Again, I'm
That's
not
a-
gonna
that's a
tell them
heck
how
of
to
a
run their
move.
business.
from there to there.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
I thought myself, just personally, if it wasn't on that side, it would be directly in front of the plant on the other side, just a little bit on this side of where the hand is.
This side, that side?
Just pointing down, straight down,
Oh.
right in that
Straight down.
area.
Keep going, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, more,
That was my own.
more in the middle of the property.
And you got the,
'Cause I
you
know
got
at the back end.
the building is a buffer for that.
All the
Well,
piles
if,
are.
Yeah.
if you can contain that shredder, I mean, that's a big mitigating factor.
Right,
sure.
If you could put it in the building.
Put it
But-
inside.
They can,
Yeah.
we need to rethink it, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Adverse impact to the neighbors. That's against the land use code. Well,
James, one more question, or Wade. Would any of the utilities have to be upgraded?
No,
Barring move to a different location, but
no, neither way,
plenty of electricity for what you'd be running?
yeah,
Okay. Because I know that was an issue before.
right, yes, because a lot of this equipment, the old equipment wouldn't be running, most of it.
Right.
okay, need a motion for somebody. Either continue or do something.
I guess I make a motion that we continue this, until we can receive the information on the, noise of the machinery and what else? I mean, we've got
Dust.
the dust,
Yeah,
the dust
come back
control.
with some hard answers to some tough questions. And you heard the questions today, so, and you did, you solved the dust right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, you
Put
got
the
to work
water
right
trap,
between
we
them.
got that.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know
And paper.
the whole process,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the one running it, so I,
But the answer was it, and that's
well, I
what was
knew
it.
that one because I'm.
Water causes, solves
Because
that.
my backup plan
You
is.
get credit for that
Is
thing.
always to go back and spread and chip, and I wanted the dust away from the neighbors at that point to do the same thing, so.
This list, this machinery.
I would recommend that you give him a list of
Yeah,
what you would like
yeah,
to
I was gonna
receive.
say, so,
Yeah.
I know one of the things is, think about relocating those pods, or we just looked at, list all the machinery that's gonna be on site.
Right.
And its size, give us specifications. Is it a fuel, is it diesel, is it weigh 100,000 pounds, 60 pounds, 1,000 pounds, what does it weigh? You know, those things matter, because as that thing moves around, it's gonna create dust too.
I agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, and you know that, yeah, you know that. Yeah. Well, anything else you want to see as a
And
condition?
then look into
Condition.
putting the shredder and
Mitigation.
stuff in the building. See if that's
Mitigation.
gonna work for you or not.
I mean, that's going to ultimately a function of how loud it is. So once we have that data, we can determine whether or not anything additional is required.
Okay.
Yeah. I think just a little more thought in this, what you're gonna bring to us, again.
Would you
Again,
guys,
I like the idea, I like the idea.
And again, I'm
Just-
the same way. I think it's a great idea. It's just, we need to make sure it's gonna fit in the neighborhood.
It's gonna fit with the neighbors, and you've addressed their concerns.
do you want to address hours of
Lighting,
operation?
Lighting's another thing.
Hours of
Yeah.
operation also.
think
Because
That's
I
a good
think
idea.
that ought to be covered now as opposed to waiting for
Lighting.
later.
Isn't that in the thing, what the plan was?
Glare is a,
Original plan was 20 hours a day, but basically that included the cooking of the
waiting
pots.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah, the night shift, just basically the pots are cooking. You just two shifts of cooking. Day shift does all the work
I
and
think
makes
7
noise.
to 5 or something.
So I would recommend, you address loading and unloading of trucks and moving pots, times of day, because those backup alarms are a real deal. And you can't eliminate them.
right.
No, that's where we do that white, there's a white noise thing you can put on the backup alarms that OSHA allows.
Right,
It-
right.
It's
But
a pretty loud, I mean, it's a loud swishing sound, but it's not the
Yeah,
ear piercing honking.
9:30 at night on a summer night, it's like it's right next to you, so
I hear you.
take that into account if you would.
Yeah, full disclosure of the operation timeframes. When you're gonna start, what happens at, from 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning till 10, till 11, till 12? Now. Okay, So is that-
When do you want to continue it to?
say again?
When do you want to continue it to?
How much time do you guys think you'd need to get this information?
Did you hear him?
Did you hear that, James?
Oh, I'm sorry.
In all honesty, I've never seen the filing that Rolf gave, so we just need to edit what's there. We have the information, but I don't know, I've never seen the filing, so I'd have to look at it and then edit it. But, a couple weeks, a week or so, I mean, we have the information now.
Okay,
This is a weekend project for me.
okay. So next month?
If you think you can do it, just hate, to come back and
Yeah, I hate
still have unanswered questions. but
One more
That's fine.
Just one more thing to address. I know hours of operation might deal with some of this, but clearly folks have concerns about lighting and glare from the operation. So if you guys could address that too, good.
Yeah, you have to buy these, because it's special lights you have to use, but that's all off-the-shelf stuff.
We'll take that information into consideration.
Yeah, if you just,
So you want to continue till June then? June works?
Does June work for you guys?
It's fine for me. That's actually-
James, June works for you guys?
what's the day?
Okay, we'll continue till June. We still need.
I mean, what's the date? I've got a lot of travel in June. What's your date in June?
That's the second Thursday in June,
June
in the evening.
Make sure everybody's going to be available.
I'm on a plane. Well, no, that's in the morning. I'm on a plane. I can be available second Thursday. The 13th, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, 13th of June. That's a bad day. June 13th. That's the day I graduated, 1969, June 13th. Okay, we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Oh, it's somewhere. There it is, okay. A second, this is, bear with me. Ted, was to continue. Ted, continue.
Well, at least y'all aren't missing a hockey game.
Can you call for the vote?
Yeah, Dallas is way ahead of Colorado tonight.
I'm sorry, I don't watch sports.
Any more discussion?
Yep.
No more discussion, I guess. that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Nergard,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Nay.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Aye.
Now, we're voting to continue, right?
Right.
Right,
Yep.
Okay.
with all those conditions, with all those recommendations, of what we need information-wise.
The mitigation list, okay.
Yeah, and if you have that, then if they need to call you, they could get that again, okay?
Now,
Okay, so the
Call me or
the
Dawn.
motion carried.
No, it doesn't.
You didn't? Three
no,
to two?
if you didn't vote,
I don't vote.
it didn't carry.
It's
Yeah,
two,
it did.
it's
It did
2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Oh, it did, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
2-1.
That's three. There's three of us.
Bad math skills, huh?
One nay.
I've been here too long,
for
sorry.
math.
It's not that late, Don.
It's 9 o'clock.
It's not that late.
So where do we get the list? Can I come by and grab it from you, Don, or?
Yeah, we'll have to figure out exactly what all we want, I think.
Get what?
Well, we kind of had the list, but
Let's,
You could provide that, Jane?
Don
Or Don
provide
can?
it.
I don't have anything written down. Let's state it right now,
Jane has it all written down.
Okay.
Can you use the recording?
List of all machinery.
if we can hear it.
Decimals. Whether the equipment can be used inside or not. Full
For the
disclosure.
shredder.
for the shredder.
For the shredder.
Yes,
Right.
For the shredder.
Right.
Noise of the shredder
Equipment list.
and the noise of an operating shredder.
Right, right.
List
Noise,
of all machinery. The loading and unloading of trucks.
Hours of operation, how it's
hours,
done.
right,
Operation.
right.
Um,
And the
give more
procedure.
thought before coming back.
And move the pods possibly, if that's
There
a
you go.
possibility.
Yes, yeah, that's.
And the information on the lights
Yeah,
you have to use
And
for
then the
lights.
lights, yeah.
Do-
And the lighting.
Yeah, do address the lighting, and all you gotta, just, it's the glare that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, and
Right,
we
Don?
have these lights,
James, if you-
because we operate next to a neighborhood, so we have these lights that shine down.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you could take a look at that site and see about the new location there towards the center and where and how the lighting plan would fit with that, I think would be a big step in mitigation.
And with the decimal levels, take it at different areas of the property.
Well, that if you get readings from your Berthoud plant on that shredder, but if you put that shredder indoors, then you're gonna mitigate,
Sure,
a lot of
a lot of noise.
that
Ton
factor.
of noise.
Yeah, if nothing else, if it's only from the manufacturer, then different feet and spacings from them, not just what it is right outside
Right.
Right outside
the piece of machine. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And James, this is recorded on YouTube, and I can email you the link.
You can go back.
So if you want to review the last part of this as far as items to address, I think you already know it, but just for your
Yeah,
information.
no, yeah, we've got an idea.
Perfect, appreciate that. Appreciate your input as well. And if you would like,
And
If I could get a
cooperation.
copy, if you don't mind, Don, could you email me a Word version, or whatever you have that's been filed?
I'll
Could you email me what you're looking at?
yeah, I will send you, I'll just send you this whole packet if I can email it.
No, I'd appreciate that.
It's like
That way-
65
That way I
pages.
know what's in the file and,
Right,
you know, yeah.
fair enough.
And do you guys, does the board want to also have a list of what they're planning on mitigation with all this full disclosure?
The what?
There's
Mitigation.
no, we don't know that there's any threshold standards being
For that.
that are out of compliance yet, do we?
No, we
So
don't know yet.
There's no mitigation.
Yeah, that one I can agree with, yeah.
We just, yeah, that's, the new information will verify the threshold standards.
I just wanted to ask.
So
Maybe something.
I got a quick question. Will we have to go through all the process with the people coming back in and giving their 3 minutes next time?
Yes.
No, public comment is closed.
Thank you. I appreciate that part.
John,
John,
we're still in the meeting.
We're still in the meeting, I know we are. I was asking him about his horse.
He said adjourn the meeting.
I'm sorry.
So
I was kidding.
I just let him know that public comment is closed and there won't be more public comment at the continued public hearing.
For our continuance?
yes.
For our continuing. Okay, so we're like the commissioners then, the BOCC? When they have the, oh, okay, then there won't be any more comments.
Right, public comment's
Yeah,
closed.
so it's, what happened today is it. Give us the information, we'll digest it, and then we'll vote on it.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wade.
Thank you all very much.
Can you bring the sign?
Thank you.
I did last time.
Oh,
He did last time.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I've lost track of 2 or 3 things here.
You as well. Thanks.
Okay, do we have further discussion?
We gotta do roll call anyway.
Roll call, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Hernandez?
I am still here.
Commissioner Niergaard?
Here.
Commissioner Lynch? Commissioner Armstrong?
Here.
All right, now, does anybody have anything to discuss? I don't have anything.
Good night.
Good night.
Ted, nothing?
Nothing.
Mike,
Good.
call for a motion to adjourn.
I do
Wait a minute,
have
James.
one, yes.
Oh, here, we did pretty well there for the guys.
Always leave it to a woman. Let's have less work. Are you still looking over the land use code for recommendations and all that? Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Slow but sure.
Yeah, I wanted to wait till Haley,
Yeah.
well, the full commission was here to kind of decide
Yeah.
what we want to do. Yeah,
Slow is good.
yeah.
Okay. Now,
Now, sorry.
I move that we adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
We're adjourned. 9:13.
9:13 till
And all is
6:13.
well.
Thank you, guys. Sorry I had so many questions, but
No, no.
we,
They were great. That's,
They
Yeah,
needed
we-
to
we need
bring
to know.
in a real study,
again,
like,
I
yeah.
like
yeah,
the
you just
idea
can't
it's
come in
gonna
and say,
be
oh, this is what we're gonna do, we'll call it good. I mean,
Especially
they
with
do a
the,
good job, then yeah.
with the